Hey, what's up guys, it's me, Spectrar here in another video, this time in Dwarf Fortress. I'm starting off a new tutorial series here in Dwarf Fortress, and today I'm going to show you how to get started and how to launch your first world in this game. Now, I like to use the Lazy Noob pack. I'll put a link to download this in the description. For me, it bundles up Dwarf Fortress very nicely, along with some neat options that allow you to customize the game a little bit more, but that is for another tutorial. As you can see, there's lots of things you can change, but again, we'll get to that in another video. For now, just hit play Dwarf Fortress. It'll start to launch with some beautiful graphics, and you wait for it to fully launch. Okay, so now that you've gotten past that little launch animation, you can sit here and you can make your screen a little bit bigger. I find it to be useful. Now, when you first launch, you won't have continue playing. Now remember, this game doesn't use the mouse at all. You can make it use the mouse, but we'll get to that to another time. For now, you'll hit Create New World, you'll arrow down to it and hit Enter. It will start to load things that it needs to make your world. This is a little disclaimer saying that this game is still in development, which is surprising because it couldn't be more complete, but there is the chance you'll run into bugs. I wouldn't worry about it too much. The most bug you'll run into is it accidentally maybe crashing, like in certain circumstances, but we'll talk again more about that later. So just hit escape. Now, you got these world options. First, you have world size. This is how big the map is that you can choose sites from. If you don't understand what I mean by that, don't worry, you'll understand in a minute. But this essentially allows you to choose the sides of the world that you can pick your start locations from. Depending on how good of a computer you have to run this system will depend on which size you pick, also how much time you have to generate your world. The larger the world, the longer it takes to generate. Next is history. This will determine how long your world is going. It'll have to generate through the history. Now, history could affect how big rivers are, what creatures are there, like how old the creatures are. Sometimes when creatures are older, they're bigger and scarier. Things like that. So if you want a fresh brand new world, you can choose very short. If you want the one that's been around for a while, choose very long. Pretty self-explanatory. Again, you can have bigger rivers, bigger mountains. Lots of things could change. Number of civilizations. Now, in the game, every once in a while, a civilization will come to trade with you. This will determine how many different ones there are and how many there are. Next is the maximum number of sites. Sites are the locations you pick to start out in. This basically just determines how many you have to choose from. This will also be in conjunction with your world size. Now, number of beasts. There's lots of different animals in this game. Lots of them I probably haven't even seen yet. But this will determine how frequent and how many there are. Like it says there at the bottom, increases this setting makes larger beasts more prevalent. So if you want to run into larger beasts, like maybe say a dragon, if you want a better chance at meeting one of those, maybe pick very high. If you don't want to mess with those monsters, maybe pick very low, but just know that there will be a lot less animal life, typically. Natural savagery. Now, there's like goblins and things like that happen in the game. This will determine how often that happens. So it can make places a lot more difficult to live in, but again, you can choose, your poison. Now, mineral currents. This will determine how much mineral spawning happens in your world. As you can see, increases mineral currents makes embark sites have more minerals. Pretty self-explanatory. As you saw, the default for everything was medium, sparse. I typically put up to frequent, or I did when I was first starting out, just because I didn't want to worry about it too much. I had other things to worry about, like keeping my dwarves alive. So for this one, I'm going to pick medium history, probably just a regular small world and rare mineral occurrences. So you can see at the bottom there, it has Y to go. You press Y to select and start generating your world. So hit Y. As you can see, my map size, it's not big, and it's going through in the bottom corner over here, going through the different years, generating what's changing in the world. As you can see, some rivers are appearing, different things are changing, more civilizations are popping up, or roads, things like that. And it's basically going through the ages creating this world, and we'll pop back in after the world is done creating. Okay, we're back from our world finished generating. I just wanted to pop in because I think I forgot to talk about it. You get this second window after it launches. It's not important. It comes with the Lazy Noob pack. You can go ahead and minimize it or just hide it behind your window like I had been doing and just ignore it. It doesn't matter. But as you can see, our world has finished. We've gotten to year 250. We've had a lot of historic figures, a lot of dead people, and a lot of events. Our map has changed a lot since it first started, but that's okay. You can kind of tell up here you got some ice, you got forest areas, kingdoms, deserts, mountains, lots of different things. So now, at the bottom here, you got a list of options. You hit enter to accept. You can hit abort if you don't like the way the map looks and restart. Depending on what settings you set, this could have taken a while and you just really don't want to redo that. But I'm going to go ahead and hit accept. And now it's going to take all of that and basically save it. Okay, so your world just finished creating. Now, I want to warn you. Now, mine does this every once in a while. All of a sudden, your Dwarf Fortress will stop responding. Don't worry. Just give it some time. The game does that a lot. Don't exit it out or end the task. Just let it sort itself out. It usually comes back. So now, you should have start playing in your menu context now. Before you just had create world. If you played this before, you have continue playing. But now you can sit start playing. And this is your new region that you haven't set up yet. And there's other things you can pick, but for now we're going to pick Dwarf Fortress because that's what we're here to play. And it's going to go ahead and load everything about the world that it just saved for you. It shouldn't take too long. These are the different months in this world. Here we go. Now we've loaded in. So now we will use our arrow keys to maneuver around. As you can see here, I'll take my cursor. You see this red X? That is where your current site is at. Over here, you've got things like the stats about the place. Is it mountainous? What's the temperature like? Are there trees, other vegetation, surroundings, and its name? If I come over here, you see things change. It also shows you what is on the earth there. Over here in this other corner, you can kind of see what it looks like. Now, if we come down to here and we look at these, you can use U, M, K, and H. And if you look up here, if I use those, I can maneuver around and kind of change where my location is. So let's say I like the fact that this has sand, shallow clay, deep soil, and aquifer. Typically, you don't want an aquifer because that means you can't dig deep. So typically, try to stay away from aquifer. But I want this river, and now I can move my location, my landing location, to where I want. Now, when I say landing location, I mean these little squares that you see here. That's the entire map that I will be able to use while in game. It might seem very limiting to you, but after you're done with this fortress, you can actually come back to this world and settle lots of different places. But when we're in game, this is the only area I can actually access. So you may want a river or some kind of water source. And so you'll basically move around your red X trying to find a place you like. Now, it can take a lot to just search through every single square trying to find what you're looking for. So what you can do is you can press F to find desired location. Now you can come over here and decide what you want. Do you want a lot of savagery? Does it matter? You can choose. So what we'll do is we will choose river, yes, temperature, medium, and then we'll actually say, doesn't matter for these. Now, depending on what your criteria is, you may find stuff and you may not find stuff. So you may have to vary your search a little bit and get a little less picky about what you want, and then do your search. So now we can hit enter to do our search, and what it will do is it will go through all the locations and find locations that will work and locations that won't work. The red means the location didn't meet your criteria, but green does. So now we have got a lot of locations that we can choose from. Now we can redo the search, or we can hit escape to browse results. So now we can take our yellow X and go over to all these flashing green X's and say, okay, this place meets my criteria, I want to go there. So I'll typically find a place that has, let's see here, this has got some deep metals, some soil, a flux-stone layer. It is woodland, which means it's got plenty of trees, which is important. A nice temperature. Vegetation is okay. Surroundings are calm, which means there's not a lot of savagery or things like that. So this is a good place to choose. I'm going to choose here. You may spend longer trying to pick your location. Now, another thing I do want to mention is, along with move your local area, which is right here, you can also resize it. You can do uppercase UMKH to increase the size, but just know that that will work your processor a little harder. So I don't recommend doing it, but you can. It'll only go up so big, so you know, choose your battles. I'm going to move it up a little bit so that way I have a little more river running through my area, which I would like. Notice that the river is a brook, so it's not a full-size river, but that's okay. It still works. Now, let's say you found the place that you would like. Now you can say E for embark. You can just hit play now, but they've also got some presets here. Easy start for new players, things like that. But they also just have like a default play now. We can go more into like customizing which dwarves you start out with. But for now, we're just going to hit embark. So we're going to hit enter, just play now. Selected play now. As you can see, my thing just stopped responding, which is okay. Please don't panic. Don't close it. It'll load like it has. So now you get this awesome little opening thing. You have arrived. After a journey from the mountain homes into the forbidding wilderness beyond your harsh trek has finally ended. Your party of 7 is making an outpost for the glory of all Cambornists. That's the name of your city and fellow men. There are almost no supplies left, but with stout labor comes sustenance. Whether by bolt, plow, or hook, provide for your dwarves. You are expecting a supply caravan just before winter entombs you. That is the traders, in case you'll find out later. But it is spring now, so enough time to dwell secure lodgings ere the dingoes get hungry. Now the ere part changes every time. Sometimes it says ere the cougars get hungry, and so it's kind of foreboding what is going to try to eat me here. So ere the dingoes get hungry suggests that there might be a lot of dingoes in this area. You never know. A new chapter of dwarven history begins here at this place. Basimon, which translates to sprayed paper. Strike the earth. Now, the name of your place will change as long as the place of your heritage. The game just kind of auto-generates it for you. It also auto-generates the name of the dwarves and all this. So after you've done this, you can just hit enter and you spawn in. Now, this game, I use a texture pack. This actually isn't the right texture pack I normally use, but it's fine. Now, the vanilla game looks a lot different. It'll have a lot of confusing symbols. In the next, probably in another tutorial, we'll talk about textures that look like this. But essentially, this is your world. But that is going to be the end of this tutorial. I'll talk more about the game in the future. If you're new to this game, I highly suggest trying it out if this is the first time you're seeing it and you're still trying to decide what you want to do. But this is how you start your first world. I hope this tutorial was useful. There will be more coming from me. I really enjoy this game, and I'm hoping I can share some of the knowledge that I have acquired over the years playing this. I am by no means an expert at this game, but I do try my best, and I'm hoping to help you and help you have fun with this game. And I will see you guys in the next video. See ya!